Hey everyone, this is Friedel Hucker AJ Raven, and here's my recap and review of Penny Dreadful City of Angels Season 1, Episode number 1, which is titled Santa Muerte. And this is a continuation of the highly enjoyable Penny Dreadful series that ended a few years ago. We used to cover it a lot over on the Geekery because it had everything. It had the supernatural, it had gothic, it had queer characters. It was amazing. So the same team, John Logan, is back with this spiritual sequel to the first Penny Dreadful series. So let's see how this is. I have watched the episode. It came out early on the Showtime app. So if you want to check it out, you can check it out. And the actual episode will air on Showtime on April 26th. And yeah, of course, because this is a recap and review, there are going to be spoilers. So the episode opens up with this shot of a glaring sun, and we have Natalie Domer. Yeah, that's her name, right? Natalie Domer's character Magda doing a voiceover, and she's talking about this prophecy where brother will kill brother, race will devour race, and all of that stuff until nothing survives. And then while she is narrating this prophecy, we get this shot of people working in the fields. And this is a little kid who is using the device. What's this? Is that a gramophone? Right, a portable gramophone. But anyway, he's using it to play this sad music, and then his father comes in and he asks his son that why don't you play another song? And the kid is like, I like this song, and his father is like, you know what, you have always been a fan of sad songs. So the prophecy continues, and Natalie is talking to Santa Muerte, who's on the left of the screen. And Santa Muerte is like, but why the child? Why are you after that child? Why don't you leave him alone? And Magda basically, I think, ignores her question. And then she talks about or maybe the you know what, it was weird. This was a long 1 hour episode. I'll probably end up sharing my thoughts in a proper manner in a written review for it for the Geek Geary. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below as soon as it goes up. But yeah, it was an hour long episode. There were a whole lot of characters introduced. So if I misspeak, or if I don't say the character names right, yeah, forgive me. It's my bad. It's a new show. It will take time for me to learn all of the characters' names and all of that stuff. But anyway, Magda continues, and she tells Santa Muerte that why are you even into these humans? They are nothing. These are bugs who are clawing in the mud for more mud. And she also tells Santa Muerte that the only thing that humans really need to become evil is for someone to tell them that they can do evil stuff. And Santa Muerte tells her sister that I have no feelings for humans. My job is to take them safely away after they die. And there's a whole lot of agony I have to experience. So I can't really necessarily give my time to caring about humans while they're alive. And Magda is like, you know what? Don't stand in my way. I'm going to go and get you some more souls. And she walks off. And as she walks, fire erupts on the crops. And the CGI, the CGI was so bad. It was so tacky. Anyway, everyone runs. The child's father is burned up. The child goes to save his father, and he kind of sees Santa Muerte, I guess. And Santa Muerte just pushes him away. So basically, Santa Muerte has chosen this child. He's the chosen one, and whatnot. And the child, because of Santa Muerte's push, has a burned hand mark on his chest. And we get a time skip, and the guy in the center is the child. He's all grown up. On the left is his mother, and on the right are his sister and brother. And and the main character's name is Santiago Vera, and he goes by the name Tiago. And his sister is Josephine. What was it? Mateo is the brother, and Maria is the mother. So anyway, they're celebrating Santiago being the first Mexican American detective for Los Angeles. I guess he's an homicide detective. And while they're celebrating, his older brother comes in, and his name is Raul Vega, and he kind of he's not really happy about Santiago joining the police, because there's already a whole lot of political tensions going around. And Maria scolds Raul, and she tells Raul that he should be proud of his brother making his way up in the world, and Raul understands that. And anyway, the entire family comes together and they cheer Santiago on. And then we have Santiago and Maria walking on the road, and of course, Santiago is worried about his first day on the job. It's on Monday. And Maria is very proud of her son, and she tells Santiago that now that he's inside the police, he's inside the establishment, he needs to help the other Mexican American to enter and raise up and all of that stuff. Like, you need to, once you push down the door, you need to help others cross the door even then. And while they're talking, we understand that the city is planning to build a motorway, and the motorway has to go through the community that the Mexican Americans are living in. And yeah, they aren't happy about it. Raul is on the side of wanting to stop the motorway from being built, and that's why he isn't a fan of Santiago working with the government. He's part of the police and all of that. So we see Santiago reaching his apartment, and we see the burned handprint on his chest. And he doesn't believe in Santa Muerte, but I mean, come on, we already know that he's the chosen one. So he goes to sleep, ready to start work on Monday, but then it's Sunday and he gets a call, and the call is from his partner, Luis. And Luis tells him to get ready and come downstairs because they have a very horrible case on their hands. And this is Luis. He's played by the actor I guess everyone is a fan of. I was very glad to know that he's part of this show. So it turns out that 4 people are dead, and they have all of this makeup and all of very it looks like a Mexican ritual for the Day of the Dead. And there's also this message written where it's like, you take our heart, we'll take yours. And of course, Luis instantly thinks that the Mexicans are involved in this somehow. And Santiago is like, you know what, let's not jump to conclusions. Let's see what we're dealing with. And he goes and he checks, and of course, the bodies don't have their hearts inside of them. And also, this story takes place in Los Angeles during 1938, and Hitler is increasing his power, and there's this weird Nazism entering America. And also, it was very weird to see these homicide detectives touching the bodies without gloves. But yeah, anyway, I was like, wear gloves. Why are you touching like dead bodies with bare hands? I guess the concept of pink fingerprints hasn't been developed yet, or I'm not really sure. But anyway, we cut to Maria coming to the house she works at. And in this house, we have Peter Croft, his 2 sons, and his wife, and he is a doctor. And Peter Croft is the only cast member from the original Penny Dreadful who is part of this new series. And at first, people were like, is he going to be related to Frankenstein? Who knows? But anyway, Maria loves the kids. You can see she plants a kiss on their heads. And then we see Peter Croft's wife. I guess she is not well. She's smoking. She asks Maria if she brought in the laundry, and Maria is like, of course I did. And then before Peter Croft leaves, he asks Maria to make sure that his wife doesn't drink alcohol. And if she takes alcohol, he wants Maria to tell him. So over at the police station, in the locker room, other police members are making fun of Santiago. They're being racist towards him. And I mean, it's very weird that you can see the parallels that between what happened during the 1930s and even today. So anyway, Luis stands up for Santiago, his partner, and then Santiago tells Luis that he shouldn't that he shouldn't fight his fights for him. He can talk. And Louis like, you know what? If you are someone who can talk, then stand up and talk. So they're asked inside to come to their boss's office, and this is where we learned that the 4 people that were dead were actually a father and mother and their two children, and they were a family from Beverly Hills, and it's a white family. And the police boss is like, you know what? Yeah, I think we will have a racial war in our hands. And he also says that he wishes that the family that died was Mexican. And yeah, it's a weird racial tensions, political stuff in this new Penny Dreadful. So over at Peter Croft's clinic, we see that Magda is here as well. So if you guys don't know, Magda can shapeshift. She can take on the persona of anyone she wants. So she's basically in the clinic with her son who has asthma. And then she ends up sharing this weird fake story about how her husband hits her. Her husband is American, and her husband doesn't understand their son's asthma. And basically she's from Berlin and Peter Croft is from Essen, and they connect. And yeah, so you can see that Magda is pulling all of the strings that she can to encourage people to do evil stuff. And we find out that this was a very weird scene. So yeah, it turns out that Magda can actually create other people from her own beings, that she created her own son, and she ends up absorbing her son into her stomach, which was a very weird thing for me to see. And I guess it shows that maybe there are other people roaming around who are actually Magda. So basically, if that someone who doesn't look like Magda can still be Magda, I think that's a possibility. So we find out that Peter Croft is a Nazi, and he wants Nazism to enter America. So moving on, we are at the town hall, and we have this character on the right. His name is Townsend. I think he's one of the council members, and Raul and the other Mexican Americans are here to plead for the motorway to not be created because it will destroy the communities. And Raul does bring up a good point about, okay, fine, you guys are trying to make the motorway, but what will happen to the community? Where are the Mexican Americans going to go? And the Townsend and Mr. Townsend is like, you know what? Where you came from is perfectly fine. And it was just, bad. Again, parallels between what happened way back decades ago to even the present day. So Townsend is like, you know what? He calls in the police and he forces everyone out because this motorway needs to be built. And we find out that Magda is now Townsend's secretary, and she is whispering stuff into his head. And basically, she wants all of the minority communities to be aggravated, be attacked, and whatnot. So we have the scene where Santiago asks Louis about why he chose Santiago as his partner. And Louis is like, you know what? If you want the truth, it was because no one wanted you. And then Louis asks Santiago why he doesn't wear a cap. And Santiago is like, because I want everyone to know that I am Mexican American and all of that stuff. So he's proud of the position that he's in. And then the conversation goes to Santiago sharing with Louis that his mother, Santiago's mother, considers herself a witch, and she prays to Santa Muerte, and that maybe his mother might know about the family that died. And it's quite much for Louis, but yeah. Anyway, over at the park, Peter Croft is here, and he ends up sharing his spiel about Nazism and America first and America all of his that, and the accent is very, it's something. So Santiago and Luis come to the Beverly Hill house that belonged to the family that was murdered, and we have this new character who is, I don't know if he's queer or not. Like I said, the first Penny Dreadful series had a lot of queer characters in it, so I wouldn't be surprised if this one has queer characters in it too. So they find out that the house that they are investigating is actually very into this cult. And basically this show is relating to the radio evangelical craze that occurred during that time. So yeah, the woman that you see in the frames, she is one of, I guess she is going to play an important role in the story as well. I think I saw her in one of the trailers. So they try to investigate, they try to find if there's any blood around or if there was any forced entry. There wasn't. However, Santiago notices this weird map on the table, this weird diorama, if you want to say. And basically, the person who this house belonged to was working on the construction that didn't go well with the community members. And yeah, so basically, I guess he was killed uh, to make a statement. So anyway, it turns out that Magda, who is working for Townsend now, not working for, who is working on Townsend, ends up making him meet this person who is an architect from Germany. He works for Hitler, and he wants Townsend to support him in order to make motorways in America. Basically, he wants a way to infiltrate America and help Hitler have a stronghold here as well. And Townsend is like, I won't betray my country. And Goss, I guess the person's name is Goss, and Goss is like, you will. And they shake hands and they're like, hail Hitler and all of that stuff. So over at Repertorio Musical, I'm not really sure how you pronounce it, but anyway, Josephine is making out with this guy, and Mateo doesn't like it. Mateo basically forces that guy, and he kicks him out of the establishment. And Maria comes in, and she's like, Mateo, I don't like you acting like that. You need to think higher. You need to think like Santiago. You need to make something out of yourself. And Mateo is like, no, I can't. This is all I can do. And then Santiago comes in, and Santiago starts talking to his mom about Santa Muerte. And his mom is like, you don't even believe in the angel of death. So why are you asking all of these questions? And Santiago is like, because I'm working on a case, so I really want your help. And Maria decides to tell him that, you know what, I'll help, but Santa Muerte isn't an evil angel. She is an angel of good and all of that stuff, but she'll look into it. Also, I want to say that the actor who is playing this news guy, during the scene between Santiago and Maria, he actually kept on looking at them and then he smirked at them, which was a very weird thing for a background character to do. So anyway, Santiago is back with, I mean, these two love each other, and I love the mother-son bond between these two, and they end up dancing and having a good time. So after everyone's gone home, Raul and Santiago are talking, and Mateo is here as well. Santiago basically wants Mateo to go to this game, and he wants him to take Josephine as well. And he doesn't want Mateo to be part of the protest that will happen in the morning. And Raul is like, you know what, Santiago, I see what you're doing. I won't allow it. And you should be standing with your community. And Santiago is like, Raul, why can't you see it that this is the future? The motorway is going to be built. And if you stand against the police are going to beat you up like animals and all of that stuff. So we find out that Luis knows about Goss, or basically suspects that this is a very shady character, and he has this board where he's trying to keep track of all of the weird Nazi Hitlerism things going on. So he hears a knock on the door, and it's Santiago, and Santiago tells Luis that he isn't comfortable being part of the protest on Monday. And Luis is like, you know what, Santiago, you need to make a choice. It's your precinct. You have to stand with the police that you're a part of. And in this world, you're either a cowboy or you're an Indian. And yeah, and we all know how that turned out. So Maria has been praying to Santa Muerte, and it works. Santa Muerte is here, and she's like, Maria, why have you called me? And Santa Muerte is like, I need your help. And I like this line from Santa Muerte, where Santa Muerte is like, when you're dead, I'll come for you. But when your leg is trapped is like stuck in a trap, you need to chew it off. You don't call me. But anyway, Maria is like, Santa Muerte, you have to do something. And Santa Muerte is like, I can't. I have my duty is elsewhere. And Also, I'm not really sure if it's like a decision by the actress, or if I'm not, if like it's timed like that. But as far as I can see, I think that Santa Muerte doesn't blink. So that's a very cool choice of a choice for a character, that the fact that she doesn't blink. But anyway, Maria tells Santa Muerte that I know about the prophecy. Uh, Basically, Santa Muerte tells about the prophecy that we heard in the beginning of the episode to Maria, and Maria is like, you know what, your sister is crazy. The prophecy is happening right now. You need to help. And Santa Muerte just screams at her and disappears. So Maria goes to visit her son Santiago, and she tells Santiago that I know that you realized that you were chosen by Santa Maria, so you need to be at the protest on Monday, and you need to do something. You need to do everything in your power to stop it. And she basically changes Santiago's mind to go and be part of the protest. So he comes to the protest. Luis is happy to see him, and Luis tells Santiago that he has never fired a gun in his life throughout his career. So yeah. But anyway, Santiago goes in order to talk to the protesters, and he uses his emotional cards. He's like, you know me, I grew up here. That's my house. I need you all to leave. I need you all to see sense. This is happening. The motorway is being built. And while he's giving his speech, Magda has arrived, and she's like walking around trying to sense if she can figure out if some person has a weak conviction. And she finds that person, and she starts whispering into his ear. And of course, the protesters don't listen to Santiago. And yeah, Raul is like, Santiago, you should be feeling shame for what you're doing. And Santiago just walks away back to the police. And while he's doing that, the person that Magda was whispering to, he shoots, and a riot erupts. There's violence, people are being killed. And then Magda starts talking to Raul, and Raul picks up a gun and he starts shooting policemen left and right. And he goes to shoot Luis as well. And Mateo tells Raul to stop, and Santiago tells Raul to stop, and Santiago has a gun, and he ends up shooting Raul, while Santa Muerte and Magda continue to look at each other and in this glorious scene. And yeah, I guess the first part of the prophecy where brother kills brother has occurred. And like I said, it was a very long episode. A whole lot of new characters were introduced. There was a lot of information to take in. I'll probably end up writing a review of this for the Geekiary, so make sure to check that out. And it's different. It's different from the first series. It feels more current to what's happening right now. And let me know what you guys thought down in the comment section below. And yeah, until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.